Okay, look, there's a lot of different versions of the 1925 Phantom of the Opera. Because it's kind of in the public domain, there's been 1,000,001 different editions. A load of crappy unofficial ones, and a gaggle of official releases. Restorations, definitive cuts, ultimate editions, special collector's editions. And we've got a Blu-ray, and there's just loads of them. Now, I've already done a review on what I think is the best Phantom edition. I'm not really interested in going into all the different versions, but I've recently come across something that I thought you might be interested in. You ever heard of the horror magazine Shadowlands? Well, they've released their first DVD, Phantom of the Opera Angel of Music Edition. No, nothing to do with that movie, I promise you. Trust me, I wouldn't be looking at it if it was. And its box art absolutely fascinated me. Look at that. Lon Chaney with his little 3D glasses. That's just adorable. So this Phantom's in 3D. And not only that, it's been dubbed. It's 100% talkie. They've removed all the title cards. Look, hear the Phantom speak. Terror in 3D. Lon Chaney's classic like it's never been seen before. I want to check this out. I'm just going to quickly go through the different special features of this disc. Number 1. The 3D. Right, indulge me for a minute while I tell you how 3D works. The TV was invented in 1851 by John Logie Baird, and he invented this camera where you kind of pointed at the thing you want to televise, and it blasts the person into 1,000,000 tiny pieces and sends them flying through the air, and then you reassemble them on the other end, and this is okay if you want a 2D picture, but if you want it 3D, then you need 2 cameras side by side, so you can send the width and the height and the depthness of the person, and it makes them 3D. Put your 3D glasses on now, if you've got them. Red and blue ones, ideally. Not the cool digital black ones, no, the old-fashioned red and blue ones. Now, the trouble with most movies that get converted from 2D to 3D is they were never filmed with 2 cameras, so you have to use trickery and software to cut bits of the picture out and move it around in 3D space, like here. I'm trying to convert Dario Argento's Phantom into 3D, to make it more better. And the process I'm using here is called a 3D stereo looks like crap conversion. Basically, that's what Shadowlands use here. And yeah, the 3D effect is pretty negligible. You see, the interesting thing about the 1925 movie was, technically, it was shot in 3D, or at least by 2 cameras side by side. That's why the 1925 cut looks quite different from the 1929 one, particularly in the unmasking scene. So, in theory, because it was shot with 2 cameras simultaneously side by side, you could have a true 3D image. The only trouble is the quality difference would make this very tricky. The 1929 camera angles are on 35mm and look pretty good for their age. You know, they've all been restored and they're very pretty. But the 1925 print only exists in 16mm. It's nitrate decomposed, battered, torn, unrestored. Basically looks like it's been pulled out of this water. Another big problem is that the 2 prints were edited very differently, so it'd be very difficult to sync the 2 up. I'm not saying it can't be done. In fact, there's a 3D Phantom in the works that uses this very technique. Le Phantom 3D, due out in October. And this isn't a conversion, this is actually a complete reconstruction of the film in 3D using 2 different camera angles. Now, with all the logistical problems I've already mentioned, I don't know how the hell they can possibly do that. I'm not saying it can't be done, but geez, it'd be really difficult. But I'm holding out some really strong hopes for that edition. I mean, just by going on the footage that they've released in the trailer, which isn't much, but just look at the difference between these 2 shots. This is the Angel of Music edition, and this is the same scene with the true depth of Le Phantom 3D. I mean, look at it, there's no comparison when it comes to the depth. That is amazing. And just check out this still image of Mary Philbin that they've released. I think the depth on that is incredible. I can't wait to see that moving. But for the time being, all we've got is the Angel of Music edition. This release from Shadowlands uses the 3D stereo looks like crap conversion, and for the most part, it just doesn't work, mainly because this film was largely shot in tight close-ups where you don't get any depth. That's not to say Shadowlands did a bad job with 3D conversion. Even the huge budget 3D conversion of Titanic suffers from the same problems, because it wasn't shot with 3D in mind, and this one certainly wasn't. 3D wasn't invented. The only times the 3D conversion looks pretty good are shots like this when they're in a large room. You sort of get a feeling for the depth. But I don't know, I'm disappointed. Even shots that I thought would look great in 3D, like this descent to the lair, just look really flat and boring. And after a while, I feel like I've been concussed and that I'm seeing double and I'm getting a migraine. And part of the problem might be that the picture quality is so poor. They're not using the 35mm 1929 print. They're using the crappy beaten up 16mm print. Now, I guess they've used that because you get all the neat deleted scenes that aren't in other editions, and the better camera angles, and probably most importantly, it's in the public domain, so you can put it out on DVD without paying Universal a penny, where presumably the restored versions are all copyright. But whatever the reason. But I would have much rather they used the 1929 print. And then when we've got deleted scenes, like this bit with Christine stroking her pussy, I'd rather they just phased it in and out, so it's better to go from high quality to terrible than have it terrible throughout. And it might make the 3D effect work better. Number 2. The music. This is a plus point. I'd say this has got a really good musical score throughout. But I do have some criticisms. There's been some really silly mistakes with the music choices. For instance, what opera is this?
So far, so good.
She's singing Carmen, yet this is obviously the Jewel song from Faust.
I will still play Marguerite tomorrow night.
So what the hooking fell is shapped it.
And in the quintessential scene, the unmasking, why does the Phantom's organ sound like a piano? I know it's meant to be a piano in the book, but this is the movie. It's clearly some sort of organ. Look at all the stuff he's pushing. So that makes no sense, and it kind of ruins the unmasking for me, which is a shame. Oh, but now it is an organ? I guess it was like an early version of a synthesizer where you press a button and it played as a piano, but really, what's the point of that? Number 3, sound effects. This has a full sound effects track through most of the film, and it's pretty good for the most part. It's not done entirely seriously, like these scenes with Florine Papillon.
Papillion? Get out of here! What the? What? Hurry! Find him a hook! You little toad! Get out of here!
And again, some sound effects are a bit disappointing. Like when the chandelier falls, it sounds like someone just knocked over a teacup. And the Phantom's alarm is lame. Shouldn't it be some sort of bell or clonging noise instead of this just wooden knock? I mean, look, let me show you how to do this better. I could fix this movie for you in seconds. Look, your version. My version. Your version. My version. See? Better. I should have worked on this movie. And you know what? I should have done the voices. Number 4, the voice acting. Yeah, this edition does something interesting. It removes all of the title cards. This is no longer a silent film. It's got full voice dubbing.
You were great, Miss Diane.
Oh, I do hope I sang well tonight. I've never performed a role as big as Marguerite.
Nonsense.
I was so very nervous.
Is Miss Daae here?
You know Miss Daae?
Yes. It's all right. Christine!
Raoul! Oh, Raoul, it is you!
It's been too long.
Oh, my Raoul. I've missed you so.
And I you.
What's wrong?
Anything else, Miss Diane?
Now, the standards of the voice acting work, I'd say it's adequate.
Joseph, tell us about the Phantom.
What do you know about the ghost?
His face.
Little more than a skull. Ooh, skin like leprous parchment. His nose? He has no nose.
Sort of like a low-budget cartoon or a video game voiceover. It was okay. I was really disappointed in Eric's voice.
It is I, Christine. For how long I have waited this. No, please fear not. There are reasons why I must bear the burden of this mask.
You are the Phantom.
If I am the Phantom, it is because man's hatred has made me so.
It just wasn't scary or interesting at all. It was rather camp and pathetic, in fact. I could have done a better scary voice. Why didn't you ask me? And check out this inspector.
Shut down the Paris Opera House for the time being. Shut it down! I think you must be mad!
Do you know what kind of a bomb it was? The exploding kind. Mark my words, Francois. Sinister forces are at work, and this mad bomber must be apprehended at all costs.
However, one thing I will say about the dubbing, the way they synced the voices to the visuals was excellent. It's imaginative how they just made it fit. Have you ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway? When they put on a film and take the soundtrack off it and just try and make whatever they're saying match? Sometimes it had a bit of a feel of that. It seemed a bit improvised.
Ha-ha!
My
We're lucky to have her. A true performer. Everything.
Yes! Here, this is your man, Inspector. I see.
Thank you, sir.
It has been my pleasure,
Thank you.
Inspector. I will leave you with this.
Ah, yes.
Very good.
Good day.
Good luck.
When these movies were made, most people didn't bother reading from a script. They just made it up as they went along. Now, Lon Chaney's one of the rare exceptions. He was insistent on doing all the lines exactly from the script, but people like Norman Kerry just didn't care and just came out with any old gobbledygook, because it didn't matter. So they've really done well to find dialogue that matches the lip movements. I'm impressed.
I've always loved you, Raoul.
Christine.
What was that?
What was that?
What the hell was that?
I liked how the script has references to other Phantom productions, such as the Andrew Lloyd Webber.
From the moment I first heard you sing, I have needed you with me to sing my music.
Or the Robert Englund.
Christine, I could merely teach you to sing the words, but it is here I can teach you their meaning.
Oh,
Christine!
Watching this version is totally different to watching any other edition. It had an almost jokey B-movie kind of atmosphere.
Our visitor has departed. You will be pleased to know that your fair Raoul is now head of the House de Chagny.
Quiet.
Now, I will play for you my latest composition. I have titled it Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
It's no longer a creepy silent film. It gives the feeling of a slightly bad 1930s horror movie, but it is fun to watch and it moves along at a cracking pace.
Good. I am glad you like it.
It's really quite engrossing. If you're a fan of this movie, it's definitely something different. And often you forget that you're watching a movie you've seen loads of times before. It seems fresh and new. It's infused new life into it.
Christine!
no! No! Stay away! Your face! Oh, please! Keep away! Oh, no, please don't! Oh.
Christine!
Forgive me. Oh.
So, if you're a fan of the Chaney movie or you have loads of different versions, I'd probably recommend this to you to watch. But if you've never seen the Chaney version before, don't watch this one first. It will spoil it for you.
Why?
Yeah, there are some neat features on this disc. In fact, the whole thing almost feels like it could be some really good bonus features for a proper official Phantom Blu-ray. It's the sort of thing you'd watch once, enjoy it, but probably wouldn't go back to again. But I do have to say, there are some special features on this disc that are worth watching. There's an excellent documentary about the making of the Lon Chaney movie. In fact, this is the best documentary I've ever seen on the subject. It covers all the film's turbulent history and all the confusing different editions, but it puts it across in a way that makes it easy to understand.
The ending of the film was the main source of ire. In the original ending, Philbin's character, Christine, redeems Eric the Phantom with a kiss. Eric renounces his evil ways, and succumbing to his weak heart, dies upon his organ. The test audience felt cheated. They felt Eric should have been a villain to the end. Another scene that plagued the film was when Christine visits a cemetery to pay respect to her deceased father, which was deemed too horrific for audiences of 1925. During the scene, while Christine visits her father's grave, the Phantom, masked in shadow, was to play his violin in the background. Raoul, Christine's childhood sweetheart, played by Norman Carey, would intercede and chase the Phantom off. The scene ended with the Phantom hurling skulls and bones at Raoul.
There's videos of all different Phantom collectibles, and it actually has the deleted ending with Christine's redemptive kiss. But don't get too excited, it's not the actual moving footage. It's sort of like a kind of comic book thing. I don't know, I was a bit skeptical of this at first, but actually after a while of watching it, with the music, even in this still image form, it still packs a punch, it's still quite emotional. And it really makes you wish you could see the original. And it got me thinking, although what they've done here is great, in a way, it didn't go far enough for me. It's nice that they've put in the deleted scenes and sort of made it a bit closer to the book. Like, for instance, Ledoux is no longer Ledoux, but he is the Persian, he is Daroga.
I am Daroga. Long ago I knew Eric, the monster, once I pitied him. But now I have followed him here to end his mad horrors.
But the deleted scenes that are lost, like the Perrault graveyard, the redemptive kiss, I think it'd be really neat if it was filmed again with lookalikes. Done up, same costumes, same makeup, filmed in the same style, you could make it look old to match the footage, and just splice that footage back into the movie. And we know it would be fake, but it'd just be nice to see. It would give you more of a sense of what the original cut would have been like. So, somebody work on that. Overall, this is really tough for me to rate. I guess I'd probably give it a 3 or maybe a 4 out of 5. If you're all excited about seeing it in 3D, don't get excited, the effect's not that good, but having it as a total talkie picture is a neat idea and works pretty well for the most part. It's got a good sense of humour to it, it's quite enjoyable. So yeah, I guess I'd say this is worth the money. Well, that's all for now. In fact, it'll soon be all over forever. The next review will be the last review. I mean it this time. I've said I was going to quit before, but I totally mean it this time. I've had enough of all these Phantom movies. I mean, okay, I've seen a few good ones lately, but it doesn't make up for all the years of horribleness. I've just had enough. It's time for me to bow out. So, until then, bye for now.
Shut it down! I think you must be mad!